Should Americans pay for reparations for oppressed groups?
No.
Why is that?
Whatever happened in the past happened already. We can't change what happened. Just keep on going forward.
They actually paid reparations for Japanese Americans that were in internment camps. Do you think black people should get reparation payments for slavery?
Hell yeah, fucking pay everybody, man. Shit. Pay the Indian, might as well pay us too, shit.
So you change your stance?
Yeah, I'll say my stance. You know what? Go ahead and pay us too, man. Y'all got money, shit. Y'all owe.
Reparations should be strictly for foundational black Americans descended of freedmen. See, it's reparations for slavery. It's not reparations for racism, because a lot of people want to come on and get like, hey, I'm black, I dealt with racism.
Selectively black people.
Right, they're black when it's convenient.
Yeah.
We can't let everybody say I'm black and I should get reparations, because some of you voluntarily came over. This is our homeland. We've been here from the beginning, and we were mistreated on our own homeland, and we have to get compensated. If we let other melanated people say, well, I'm black and I'm an immigrant and I should get reparations too, that opens the door for Hispanics. They can say, well, I was mistreated too. Asians can say, I was mistreated too, I need to get in on that. So that's going to open the door to a lot of bad things to happen, just like affirmative action. Affirmative action was supposed to be for black people. Then we let them slip in one word and messed it all up. Minority. Nobody was using minority in the 1960s until 65. They slipped that word in and everybody and their mama ran in the minority door and got affirmative action. And we're the last ones to get it. We didn't get nothing. White women started being minorities then.
I feel like sometimes people should pay because, like,
who should pay?
white people.
Why is that, do you think?
This is why I say, because Native Americans, African slaves, and Hispanic people built this country, and white people got the credit for it.
Do we support that idea or no?
Hell no.
No?
No.
Like, what would we be paying them for? Like, hey, sorry? Like, that's what they're getting?
I guess so, yeah.
That sounds dumb. Wouldn't you think that's a little dumb?
I mean, I'm for it because it's free money, but for one, I'm for it, and two, I feel like everybody should, actually get out here and get a job and not just get money just handed to them.
The man educated an entire panel of activists on reparations and left everybody speechless.
Not everybody suffered equally. There were about 3,700 free blacks who owned 12,000 slaves, black slaves. The question is, the descendants of those free blacks who owned black slaves, do they pay? Blacks really benefited more the first 100 years after slavery than we have in the last 50 years. I was born in 1937 during the Depression. 98% of the households had a man and a woman raising children. Elderly people could walk safely in that community without fear of being assaulted by their grandchildren. Never heard a gunfire during that time. Talking about remedies, we've got to look beyond of saying that every solution has to have a winner and a loser, that blacks can only benefit if whites lose. We have to be defined more than just victims of oppression.
So pre-Title VI, was reparations, did the government or whoever is supposed to pay out agree that they was going to give black people reparations prior to Title VI?
All right, so hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Thank
hold on,
you,
wait. Hold on. I'm about to explain to you though. It wasn't because it was given to us because of a race though. We were largely the only other group in this country at the time. So
I'm not arguing that. I just want to know
right.
that little piece of information. I got another question.
Right. So
you said yes, they did agree. Now, after the agreement, was there ever a case before Title VI where it was either revoked, stricken down, or turned over?
No.
Okay. Well, I think you need to do your research.
There was never a time where they said we're not going to give reparations because it's illegal for us to do it because of race.
I get you, but I found something different, and I'll pull it up for you. Just give me a moment. I'll let somebody else go. But I did find where it was reversed.
Well, you can't reverse something that they never gave. They never gave it.
No, I'm saying M. White said that they agreed to give reparations. I didn't say they gave it.
You mean
I said they agreed? Hey, look. We're going to give you this. This is pre-Title VI in civil rights. We're going to give you this. And then there was a point after that where it was either reversed or turned down or denied.
Right.
I'm talking about that particular time in history. You're saying that never happened.
No, what I'm saying is when they revoked it wasn't because they said, oh, man, we can't address a specific race.
No, what I'm saying is pre-Title VI, was there a point in between the time they said, hey, we agree to give you reparations, and in between that time, was there a point where they said, you know what, we're not going to do it? Or somebody said, you know what, somebody came to office.
Title VI, the Civil Rights Movement. You're talking about the Civil Rights Act, right? Pre-Civil Rights Act, right?
Right. What I'm trying to do is,
well, I was going to explain to you, reparations was off the table long before that.
Okay, you said it was off the table. What does that mean?
In other words, they were not giving out reparations. They were not.
What was on the record that convinced you that they were not? Was it a statement? Was there like, hey, look, this person said no?
I believe
they did not pass the legislation to push it forward. Then it was
right.
removed, taken to the United Nations court. The United Nations ordered a payment of the reparations claim. However, they don't have an army to enforce that. So it's paperwork from the United Nations where they're saying the specific harm, the redress that needs to occur, and XYZ, they refuse to do it. And they don't have an army to enforce them to pay it because America is the largest army in the world. So you can't force them to do anything. And if they pull out, then what the UN gonna do about it?
Yeah, I think Danielle was trying to get in there too. Go ahead, Danielle.
I think he's more so trying to prove a point and not trying to hear what Sweeney is saying. But I also feel like, to his point, a lot of times I know white corporations who hire a black man who's not American so that they could have a black-owned business and receive incentives from the government for that black-owned business. So it does make sense for us to figure out the difference between a black American and a black person who comes to America. And that doesn't mean that we're anti-diaspora, because we're not. But just like we respect Haitians, we respect Jamaicans, we respect Dominicans, we respect Nigerians, it's okay for us to get respect too, which is why I keep saying opting out of using race as an excuse. You can't trust a group of people who made race in the first place and then made that be a fail-safe to them giving you something. They're the people who made white and black and then said it would be illegal to give black people something. So it doesn't make any sense to use that as an argument because you can't trust them. They're like, slavery was illegal. I mean, slavery was legal. So it's like you can't trust these people to make choices based on morality and right or wrong and then use a fail-safe. And it's okay for black people to decenter the race aspect of the word black and say, I am culturally black, I am black American. The same way every other culture who is black does it. It's
All
just
I'm
you
saying-
gotta, and you also gotta stop. No, you gotta stop caping for white ideologies. Like, it's not helpful.
Hold on, wait. This is my own ideology. I don't cape for no
It
white
sounds
ideology.
white. I'm just telling you.
I don't know how you can get sound white. I'm just an intelligent
I
man.
said you. No, I'm not talking about how you talk. I said you have to stop caping for white ideology.
I didn't say anything about white people.
I said
heard
I didn't say you did. You're
How
arguing.
is this a white? How is this a white ideology?
Because you're pinpointing, hey, you can't do this because of race, as in that's not systematically ingrained. You
I
are
didn't
not
say
a.
that. I didn't say or deny that it was systematically ingrained. I just stated that there was a law saying that you couldn't do it.
There was a law who said you couldn't. There was a law who said you couldn't read.
How is me speaking the law saying that? How is me speaking the law that's on the record having a white ideology?
Because a law said you couldn't read. A law said you couldn't get married. So it makes me think you have a white ideology arguing against a black man about a law.
Okay, I got it. You could think that I got a white
According
ideology.
to your three,
I'm just reading what the. I'm basically this is all I'm saying, Sweeney. There's no law that says black people won't get reparations. There ain't no law. We understood that. But every reversal, every veto, every unfunded program, and every block bill has said it without saying it. The government didn't need to write it down. It just made sure the promise was never filled. I agree to that. But what I'm saying, what they did with civil integration and civil rights in Title VI just made it almost impossible.
Well,
it made it impossible. So whenever you want to have something, whenever you want to have something for yourself, it's illegal to have it. That's my whole point. You can say it's whitewashed or whatever. I understand black people's plight in this situation. I'm just talking about
your plight too. It's not black people's plight. You're a part of the plight too.
Hold on, Danielle. I get what you're saying, Bruiser. But
just because I said black people's plight doesn't mean that I'm not including myself.
Bruiser, I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is that reparations is not impossible because of the way in which it's supposed to be fought for. If we fight for it the right way instead of just attaching race to it, that has always been a problem. You're absolutely right. Once you make something that once the law was put in place that you cannot discriminate based on race, color, gender, and all of that, yes, you are absolutely right. If you just put race on it, it will make it an impossibility. They cannot create a law that specifically addresses and give something in favor just on the basis of race. However, that does not mean that Black descendants of slaves cannot get reparations. You just have to fight for it in a different way.
And all I'm saying
Or
is, in
you
order
just
to
have
fight
to
for
be
it,
Asian because they gave it to Asians. They gave it to Ukrainians. Like, and it's not impossible. All they have to do is give it to us. And it's not something that we should have to fight for. It
Well,
is righteously due. And when you say Black people's, you could have said our plight, our culture, our people. You keep
who did they
you
get?
keep
Who did you say they gave reparations to?
I didn't say they gave reparations, but they signed laws. They signed an anti-Asian hate crime
They
bill.
gave it. No. They gave reparations to the Japanese from the
And
internment camp.
also
They gave reparations to the Jewish people when that didn't occur here, and then they gave the land. So damn, what the fuck is the name of it? Where they gave all the land to European settlers that would come over here, and they got more land equity if they acquire
there was
slaves.
the Homestead Act, right?
When did they
That
give
should have
it?
been the Homestead Act. So when you tell him to do his research, again, I keep saying you're caping for white ideologies because it is proven in history that they swiped a pen and gave people what they thought those people should have.
How is that caping for white people when I never even denied what I never argued in white on that?
I said ideologies, not the people, but I'm saying your frame of reference, your set point is based on arguing it's
White,
impossible.
did
All
I
they
just
gotta do
argue
is
with
sign a
did I
piece of
just
paper.
White, did I just argue with you on what you just said?
The last 20 minutes you have not been arguing that, but the initial points you was making made all of the post comments seem like bad faith arguments. I know exactly because I've heard your stance on this.
The only thing I was doing was asking a question
So I
for
can put some
clarity.
clarity. So I can put some clarity on what you're trying to say and
Yeah.
do. So Danielle, his general philosophy is, from what I understand, he correct me if I'm wrong, by Black people accepting integration and welfare or any set asides, opposed to strictly staying, pay us our reparations, nothing else, then we allowed ourselves to be finessed out of getting reparations because we didn't have them redress the specific harm, and then had them do lift all boat programs that affected everybody else, which never assisted us fully, which is what needed to occur. That's his argument. The last 20 minutes. Prior to that, it was what
That's always been my argument. And the thing that you said was important. You said that they did give reparations. My question was,
and they gave them to slave owners. The people who owned the slaves got reparations.
When did they give it to them? Like when was the deadline? Like what was the last time they gave out reparations?
To the Japanese, they gave it to them in 1988. That was post civil rights.
So they agreed to give it to them. They never had any issue about nobody turned it away, nobody rejected.
Here's the language. This is what I mean by there's a specific language, because if they said, hey, we're going to give something to just Japanese people, then no, they would not have been able to do that. However, the language was Japanese Americans who were surviving, who were survivors of the internees. So that could
have been Black people that was that was married into it.
No, they gave it to the descendants and those who were victims of being in internment camps in America.
So it included.
It was just specifically to them because they were the ones that experienced that very specific trauma. It was the Japanese Americans that experienced that. So
that's where I'm coming down to, because I'm glad you put that out there. You said that they gave it to them. They put it on the record that they was going to give it to them. Boom, it happened. The last thing I saw that they put on the record, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, was the 40 acres in the I think the mule thing or some shit like that. And I think what president was it that came in and overturned that shit?
Well, that happened in 1865. That happened in
it happened before the Title VI and all that shit.
It happened way before that. As soon as Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, as soon as he was assassinated, they damn near reversed everything. And as a matter of fact, they took everything that they gave to the descendants of slaves back and gave it back to white people, and then on top of that gave them reparations for their losses that they took after because of
during that time frame that they, yeah. I understand that.